Sometimes I wonder if that be the voice of God within the force of the heartbeat when it thunders. In the land, through it all, the way, words, divine, must say, a message. One would do well to listen. Take heed.
In the name of Allah,
You've been warned.
the compassionate, the merciful. I saw the approaching of a storm, people fearing for their lives, despair, regret, and the cries. It's amazing how we turn to the God only when the drama rise. Meanwhile, see the hypocrisy at an all-time high. Immoralities seen as a token of pride. Imagine looking at the world through a God's eye view, observing the hearts of men, the evil that people do. Imagine the effects on the mind of a newborn child. Looks to his father who thinks he's a woman now. How on earth can you believe you're worthy? Confused, the days of your life abused, misused. Sons of the ancients, draped away in the great abominations, in the belly of a beast nation. Lost souls for sale in a pandemonium manifestation, sin propagation. These are the days when the souls will wish to rest. These are the days when the righteous are put to test. Who among you will stand and fight the fight to stay true? Seems only a chosen few. The prophets and sages, sacred words that grace the pages, now perceived as all but lies and hated. By the token of time, man is at loss. I now see the real meaning of the blood on the cross. We crucify our own salvation. I sing a song of redemption. Am I my brother's keeper? Reality seen through the eyes of a dreamer. It's a wonder how the heavens aren't yet rent asunder. Forgive me, Lord, I didn't know. Just an amateur. False gods, graven images, all the damages. I remain thirsty for divine mercy. A soul journey in a world of vanity and drapery. I see a light in the addict. Those who've had enough break away from the madness. Notwithstanding all the doom and gloom and sadness, never despair in the end. Blessed be the righteous, keep the light lit. Our victory, focus on the highest. All praises to the greatest, to the wisest. Taught by the pen, the way. Freedom from our crisis, truly divine bliss.
If love is the quest, let's put love to test. If the rain gets you wet, let's dive into the bliss. While the world is a mess, just place your head on my chest. If love is the quest.
Soul travels along the way. May I have this divine dance, one that's so intimate and at the same time from a distance. I take a long glance, the way she moves that hourglass. I'm reminded, no time to take life for granted. All the signs are hinted whenever I spin her around, enjoying every vantage point is purpose. Every passing moment a curtain closed. I follow my heart and it shows. Amazed by the show, she rocks me awake whenever I look around and around. How the earth makes me smile. Will I ever stop? Nobody knows. Pondering her path, she's so mystical.
Let's put love to test. If the rain gets you wet, let's dive into the bliss. While the world is a mess, just place your head on my chest.
She loves the way I caress. Sacred foreplay, let the wind flow. Watch how I take back the sacred meaning of the rainbow. She kissed me high, she kissed me low, then breeze flow by, wings spread slow. I touch her soul by the thigh, then watch the inner pleasure glow. Something's in the air, cause I'm high. Raindrops fall and share sweet memories of morning dew. So what do we do, me and you? Will time ever let me stay? Lie next to you, earth, body, may I relax your mind, fly us beyond the sky. We need no reason beyond heavy breathing, moans and sighs. Factors I'm feeling you deep inside.
Love is the quest, let's put love to test. If the rain gets you wet, let's dive into the bliss. While the world is a mess, just place your head on my chest. If love is the quest, if love is the quest, let's put love to test. If the rain gets you wet, let's dive into the bliss. While the world is a mess, just place your head on my chest. If love is the quest,
if love is the quest. Like water takes fire, your words take my breath away. Catch up with me, stay by my side, by my side. Looking in, we're looking out from the window sill. Biding time, long enough to make this moment real. At that moment, I knew her. The spiraling of our collective energies, so sexy. Some say it's all just a fantasy. If it's love, then why not just let it be? Alternating night and day, sweet say, love's a quest, giving heartbeats meaning to light the way. If love is the quest, let's put love to test. If the rain gets you wet, let's dive into the bliss. While the world is a mess, just place your head on my chest. If love is the quest. This is an awakening. Snap out of it! The light dome. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, the merciful. Welcome. This is your brother Abdul Wadud, aka Questman, coming at you live, Soul Journey of Life, conscious social media. I'd like to begin by greeting the viewers, the listeners, the thinkers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Shalom, peace and blessings. Hotep. And again, welcome to this live. Be sure as you tune in, grab your coffee or your tea or your preference. Make sure you're ready to sit back and put on your thinking cap,
because we got some things to reflect upon. Be sure to click the like button, subscribe, and share. I have a question for you. More of a rhetorical question, but feel free to reply in the commentary. My question for you, listener, and the listener that I'm directing this towards is those among the melanated, the so called black, the so called African American, the so called diaspora. What is your relevance as an individual and as a collective people in the world today? What part are you playing? While you take, while you reflect upon that, after a nice sip of hot coffee here, I want us to delve into this profound reflection. That is the relevance of blacks in the world today and the critical importance of forging alliances internationally and locally to navigate the complex tapestries of global affairs. As we stand at the crossroads of history, it is imperative that we awaken to our nature, our divine essence, embrace unity with all peoples among ourselves of color, and reclaim our position as agents, as custodians, as vicegerents of change, of empowerment in the world, gripped by the memento events and challenges of the day. I was listening to a, a YouTube clip by a brother that I have a great deal of respect for because I see, he is about that business when it comes to doing what we should be doing in the community, in the effects of unification and things of that nature. Um, I see this young brother as a scholar, a teacher, and I see him as an activist in his own right. I am talking about the respectable Umar Johnson. However, and this isn't being said to belittle the doctor in any way, but to build on a discussion. You understand? There was something I saw, and I saw it again later on, but I will share it with you. A topic that's out there right now, and the nature of the topic is standing upon seeing the events go on in the world. For example, the plight of the Palestinian peoples, and the terrifying, the terrible, horrendous things that are happening to them in their region, all the way to the Latinos in LA and the oppression that they are encountering from the powers that be in the United States of America. And I noticed that the brother has been adamant on his perspective that, as he commented on the matter of the Palestinians, he says that doesn't have anything to do with blacks. Um, this same context was given yet again by the same respectable brother concerning the Latino community, and to which was said, this has nothing to do with black people. Now, again, I respect the brother's achievements and profound, learning qualifications, credentials, and what have you. as well as the role that he's playing in the community. However, I think that as an intellectual person, he would be, humbled enough to have someone that might disagree with at least this particular quote, that this has nothing to do with black people. Me, I'm one of those who believe in our inheritance. You understand? I believe adamantly in our inheritance. I believe that before there was anything else, before there was any other form of humanity, there was the black man and woman. And to said black man and woman, the whole of the earth, not just Africa, not just America, not just Brazil or China or any of the whole of the earth was under our charge. Even in the Quran, when it speaks about the first man, Adam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls Adam a Khalifa. A Khalifa translates into English as vicegerent of the earth, or authority, representative, a manifestation of the authority of the Most High. That is what Adam meaning bloods, meaning bloods, plural, the nature of our anatomy. That same one I'm talking about don't get caught up into these narrations, biblical narrations and things like that, but try to understand in principle my point. When I say the term Adam, when I'm saying Adam, I'm simply referring to our ancestor and using Adam based upon its Hebrew and Arabic meaning, not its English rendering or the use that it has in Western interpretations and storytelling. But Adam, that one, that nation, that people, that ancestor, fashioned from darkened clay, as the Quran declares, darkened clay. And the thing about divine words is words aren't used in vain. Words are not in vain when it's divine. Every single word, syllable, sound, numeral, all has a part to play. Nothing is used randomly. Nothing is used, to take up space. Everything is accounted for. So that darkened clay is mentioned. It matters. It matters. And so this before all other variations, kinds, mutations, forms, renderings, hybrids, any other of what we are calling today human beings. Before all of that, there was the black man and the black woman. Let's hear what Umar has to say. Now, again, I respect this brother, so don't take anything that I'm saying as disrespect to the brother. Rather, these things are meant to be a discussion. And rather than see this as an attack against the brother, because it's not, it's a dialogue, if you will. I think that, back in the days, our scholars would be able to sit and have intelligent discussions, intelligent dialogues, debate their perspectives, show their reference, show their points of view, and they will build on that, shake hands, give each other, strong hugs, salutes, whatever the case may be, and go about their business as comrades, as friends, as brothers at the end of the day. If I thought we were less than as a people, then this statement, these words, this has nothing to do with black people, would matter. They would matter. If I thought our value in existence in this world were less than, like irrelevant, like it didn't matter if you talked about us or not, the events of the world would still go on accordingly. If I thought that way, then those words of Dr. Umar Johnson would be true, perhaps. But I don't think that way. I don't think small of us as a people at all. We are divided. We're broken in so many ways. I would even suggest that many of us are confused, and not not necessarily from our own doings, because a lot of games have been played upon us, a lot of manipulation, a lot of misinformation, a lot of uh, twisted programming, all squeezed into our domes. You understand? And so when it comes to psychological healing, we have a lot to work on. And if memory serves me correctly, Dr. Umar is a psychological uh, doctor, or what have you. I could be wrong, but I think I recall him speaking about that at one time. But let's take a look at this. So as you see right here, this is the one. This is an old one. This was back, like, I think about a year ago or something. And I like his passion. You'll see, check out his passion. Let's take a listen. And mind you, this, any footage, any videos that you see that are not sourced from Soul Journey of Life are of their respective sources, and used here for the purposes of commentary, education, etc.
Because you got an attitude that I'm not rocking with the Arabs. You got an attitude that I'm not rocking with what Jada Pinkett is doing, this disrespecting and undermining her husband so she can sell a couple books. Y'all better go somewhere with that nonsense. Y'all better go somewhere with this nonsense. I wasn't born to be your damn friend. I was born to wake you up. I was born to smack the black out of you if you ain't proud of it. Have the Arabs apologized for African slavery yet? Have the Arabs paid us reparations for starting the slave trade? Have the Arabs done anything about the enslavement of Africans right now? Get the hell out of my face. I'm a black man. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I hope the fighting stops tonight. But if you think I'm going to take time away from my struggle for my race to save your race, you out your damn mind. You out your damn mind. Free Africa.
Okay. So that said right there, let's put a pause on that. Now, here's the irony. What he said there in his passion, much of that is on point and accurate. In fact, I would even suggest that what he said is not necessarily in line with the title that was given, that, the quote or whatnot. This has nothing to do with black people. Everything that he said were solid positions or perspective that I believe that we should hold when looked at it from that way. So I suppose I have some explaining to do. Why am I saying that I disagree with the opinion this has nothing to do with black people? Why am I saying that? So building on my point that I just mentioned, relevance. Relevance. In warfare, one of the things you'll notice, for example, if you were to look at the world today, you will know, even today and in the past, that often in war, alliances would be established. And in said alliances, sometimes you will find alliances built upon countries or entities that normally would be enemies with one another. You understand? Normally they would be in opposition. Normally they might even be fighting each other themselves. But suppose they encounter a greater enemy. You understand? And that to try to confront this enemy alone would be foolishness, would be a folly for sure. And so that seeing that this enemy and their enemy, that this enemy is the same enemy as their enemy, and that the nature of this enemy is greater than the beef that they may have, the lesser enemy might have, it makes sense that they would join forces to take down the greater enemy. Now, we need to qualify all of this because I agree with the passion that Dr. Umar is presenting, and it's in line with the mindset that Malcolm X presented when it came to um, matters with inside the family structure. You understand? I don't think that we should do anything that would corrupt or damage or pose a threat to our own efforts of unity from within. So understand the word of the day versus what I'm not saying. I said alliances. I did not say friends. There's a difference in the meaning of alliances and friends. You could well say that Burkina Faso and Russia are alliances. They have an alliance. Are they friends? Are they people that are known to get along? That much I can't say for sure. You could likely suggest that on a general day, they would likely have nothing to do with one another. But seeing that the enemy, you understand, poses a threat to both parties involved, and both of them have resources that could really benefit each other, alliance is the word of the day. So, where is this coming from? You see the title there, Relevance of Blacks in the World Today, a call to conscious action. What are we doing as a people? What do you see us doing um, the majority of the time wherever we are? What are we mostly preoccupied with? Ask yourself if our activities in the world, wherever we are relevant, are game changing actions, are um, behaviors, characteristics that factor in to what's going on in the world today. If you can't find anything that matches that, would you agree that we have a problem? If you do find something, I would like to know what it is. Take, for example, and this needs a profound understanding. Take, for example, the war or the developing war, although the conflict has been going on for quite some time between Israel and Iraq. Israel and Iran, pardon me. Israel and Iran are literally bombing one another. And because the upper hand appears to be, as it is at the present time, in favor of Iran, this is pushing Israel to behave much like a rat trapped in a corner, to where they have to pull out all of their special tactics. You understand? Call in comrades, call in alliances of a more powerful position to come to their aid, meaning that the dangers, the conflict will increase and more parties will become involved. Now, the, the last I checked, much of the warfare that's going on contains weapons that are capable of destroying populaces. According to some of the people who are talking on the matter, analysts or whatnot, war analysts, it looks like the West, particularly the United States, is heading headfirst into this conflict. But because of the nature of the conflict, and remember we were talking about allies, right? Iran is not without allies. And not only is Iran not without allies, but their presence in that region is critical for even their allies. For example, Russia and China rely heavily upon the presence of Iran. The removal of Iran in any kind of way would be, a tremendous problem for Russia and China. Something that they're not looking forward to having to deal with. You understand me? So it makes sense that they would, come to the rescue or come to the aid in some form or fashion of their ally. And mind you, just so you get an understanding of how this ties in, Iran has, almost nothing in common except the enemy that they all share. Other than that, they have nothing in common as a people. People of Russia are predominantly Eastern Catholic, like religiously speaking. Um, there's also, a secular sector in Russia. And there's Muslims there, but as a majority, you would say that Russia is a Eastern Catholic um, based nation. China, on the other hand, being having the effects of what they say communism or what have you, um, and more secular, although they have like factions of like Buddhism and things like that. There's other elements there. Um, Definitely nothing in common with Iran. But again, the one thing all have in common, and I'll even throw in North Korea, is that they have a common enemy who's rubbed all of them the wrong way. So the point I'm making is Iran recognizes the value in having such allies. Now understand that this is a country that's built upon um, a creed, a doctrine uh, that focuses on what we might call what we like to call ummah. Ummah in Arabic means the community of faithful people, people who adhere to this common doctrine that teaches Islam. You understand? That's what Iran is found. That's their foundation. You understand? So in any other day or any other season, so to speak, having an alliance with Russia and China is not something that the Ayatollah would even think about. But because Islam teaches wisdom, and because I would say that the Ayatollah is a wise elder and leader of Iran, which is an interesting thing. In having that wisdom, he would understand the value in keeping sharp alliances, close alliances with these other mighty nations, such as Russia and China. You understand? He understands the value of that. Now, what does any of that have to do with the so-called black man and woman, the so-called diaspora of Africa in America? What does that have anything to do with tying that all together with the events going on in the United States of America? The very people who to this day have not been granted any forms of reparations for the horrendous actions that have been endured upon the people, have not, even though the term freedom has been blasted in their face, they have not actually been free in any kind of fashion. Because to this day, the descendants of the slave masters are still in power, ruling over said blacks of America, still telling them what to do, still arresting them if they do not comply, still brutalizing them because of their likeness, their nature, etc., still causing them much pain, much deception, much misinformation, much education, miseducation, and so on. Same body of people doing the same thing. You understand? Evolved, albeit evolved. So we're in a time where, like I said, you see the passion in the brother Dr. Umar right here in his words, because we are going through it. Those of us in the USA are going through it right now in more ways than even can be understood. And the sad part about it is many of us in the USA aren't even aware of it. Some of us have been so lulled asleep, so draped away in our entertainments and comforts, perceived comforts, that we don't even see it coming. So wouldn't you say, wouldn't you agree that our situation makes us very vulnerable, especially when a significant number of us are not sufficiently able to protect ourselves? Most of us don't bear any arms. And even if we did bear arms, many of us do not have the training necessary to operate as a group, as a team, because we're so divided over pathetic differences. We will literally argue over the color of shoelaces, the brand of a wallet, not even anything, any number of things. Whose eyelashes are longer while they're fake, all at that. We will argue over the most minute things that will break us apart in a twinkling of an eye. So what kind of defense will we offer ourselves, if anything, but to survive? So let me see. I'm looking for this other clip here. It's important for us to understand ourselves and be honest with that understanding. Recognize where we're weak. We can be dreamy. We can be lofty in our spiritual prowess. You understand? And put ourselves on a high pedestal. But on ground level, on earth, the status quo amongst us as it is, broken, divided, arrogant, argumentative, we're weak. Now, we need to understand what I'm saying and what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that we should put ourselves or make ourselves as dependents upon other people. Ibrahim Traore's alliance with Russia doesn't make him a dependent on Russia, but an ally on equal terms. Give me a second here. I was trying to find this clip. I'm still looking for that clip I was looking for. Oh, that's not it. Um, I want you, what I'm looking for, there was a clip, because I want you to see the perspectives that are out there. Take, for example, I'm going to show you something here because I feel that we have a duty, a responsibility towards one another, to look out for one another. And if I can find this clip, I'll try to build on it all the same. Because we all have a responsibility to look out for each other. And what I'm doing right now, even this very conversation, is in an effort for us to not only wake up, but to revive our thinking. Because any number of us that believe ourselves to be God conscious, and yet we sit divided, I would have to question, in what way are you God conscious? I'm not saying that you're not, but even being God conscious requires elevation. And there are different levels to that. You understand? There are different levels to and ranks to that. The Quran would call it light upon light, in different ranks. All levels of light is not the same. Some levels of light are higher than others. Yeah, I'm not finding it as fast as I wanted to find it. I thought I had pinned it, but apparently I didn't. Hmm. Well, never mind that for now. If I find it, I'll try to put a link or something. But if people sit while a building is on fire, you understand? And if they don't make any moves, if they don't speak, if they don't do any actions, what is the likelihood that they will be saved in that fire if no other persons are aware of their presence? What I'm talking about again is relevance. In what way are we as a people showing ourselves as relevant? I would challenge us. I would challenge something here. Imagine if, I'm just going to shoot something out here. Imagine if the conflict in the Middle East that's happening right now between Iran and Israel was able to be stopped immediately simply because the black people unified together and insisted upon a ceasefire. Now, I know some of you in the back of the class will say, "Well, how will we do that? How is it possible?" Because and the reason why somebody would say that is because they perceive us to be so weak and feeble. If we're so weak and feeble, then why are we talking so loud? If we're that weak and feeble that nothing we do can ever matter, then we should sit down and be quiet. But if we are as mighty, descendant of a mighty ancestry as we like to boast, then doesn't it make sense that the very matters happening in the world that can affect everyone, a world war would affect everyone. You would not be able to entertain yourself with your PlayStation under a world war. You would not even be able to go to work to be able to get the money to buy the next game because the economy would be so damaged in a world war. So last I checked, and from this, observation, it matters to us. And what an enemy does to one people, it matters because it means they can do the same to you. If a nation has that, if a nation, not just any nation, but a very nation that has control over the nation you live in, can completely unalive hundreds of thousands of people, thousands upon thousands of people, and not lose any sleep over it, what's preventing them from doing the same thing to you while you sit in the comfort of your living room or while you're heading to work? What's to prevent them from doing the same? I'm talking about the same heart and mind that's able to drop bombs on innocent people abroad and have no thought about it, can go home and sleep as if what they did was an honorable action. And some of them actually believe that what they're doing is in the name of God. So I'm saying to you, a people that have a mind to do that, what's to hold them back from doing it to you? Because you who say this has nothing to do with you, you, by that very statement, with all due respect to the doctor, are making us weak, are perceiving us or seeing us as weak. To say that this has nothing to do. Now, again, I agree that we should not be pandering to other people, pleading and putting ourselves at the mercy of other peoples. We need to stand up on our own feet, but we need to understand how the art of war works. Brothers and sisters, historical legacy and modern influence. Let's deal with that. The Black community's contribution to society extends beyond the bounds of continents and epochs. From the rich tapestries of ancient African civilizations that laid foundational knowledge in science, art, and governance, to the defiant resilience of the diaspora in the face of colonialism and slavery. Our legacy is deeply interwoven with the very fabric of global development. The contemporary times, this legacy continues to evolve and influence through dynamic participation in politics, economic, technology, and culture. Let me tell you something. Whenever we involve ourselves in worldly matters, the enemy hates it. When Malcolm X started going abroad, interacting with other nations, you understand, creating, certain agreements or whatnot, they they made sure to keep an eye on him to see what he was going to be doing. Who was he talking to? What leaders, what effects was that having on Malcolm X? And this is the same with many other people, from Marcus Garvey, even um, I can recall the Honorable Louis Farrakhan visiting Iran, visiting Libya. You understand? When they see us doing things like that, they become worried. Why? Because we must have a factor in all of this. Our presence, I'm not talking in some kind of spooky way. I'm saying our actual presence, our intellectual presence, our value in the world matters. Because what we do in the world on behalf of our people, wherever we are, it echoes. Why do you think they want to rid the world of Ibrahim Traore? Because they hear his message. His message isn't just about Burkina Faso. His message is about Africa and Africans wherever they are. Or you go play some of his earlier clips and videos and listen to what he has to say, and you will see the banner that he's uh, building towards. That is a complete monkey wrench in everything the colonial masters stand for. He understands that the only way to get this done is there has to be a give and take. You can't just sit and say, "Oh, I'm black and proud," and then that's enough. You can't just wave the red, black, and green and then sit and that's enough. As we forge ahead, brothers and sisters, the mantle of responsibility weighs heavily upon us, not merely to continue the legacy of those who came before, but to expand it. This requires courage, commitment, and clarity of purpose. Why are we here in the first place? Who are we and why are we here? Because you need to understand we are not random. This is not no happens chance or whatever you want to call it. We have an actual purpose. Every part of your body has a purpose for why it exists. There's nothing that's in your makeup or in the makeup of the world around you that exists for no reason. You understand? There's nothing in the world that exists for no reason. Understand this. Let me even drive that in deeper. The fact that you are black, there's a reason for that. It's not just because some divine man or some creature somewhere wanted a nice paint job. There's a reason why you're melanated. There's a reason, there's a purpose it serves on multiple levels. Because if you understand the everything that exists, it's not so simple, is it? When you look at anything under a microscope, you will see that things are not so simple. Things are not so clear cut and dry. There's always a more profound explanation, a more profound reason behind everything, including the fact that you are melanated versus not being melanated. And this is not to belittle anyone or hate on anyone. This is to speak facts. This is to deal with the facts that I am melanated, whether you like it or not, whether you like what it means or not. Because you don't like what it means or because you are deficient in melanin should not mean that I take pride or that I'm satisfied with the fact that I am. Not only that, it should not mean that I ignore its value or its importance or its reason for even being a quality in me in the first place. Because you lack in these qualities should not mean that I keep quiet about me having these qualities. When my purpose, when one of my um, aspirations of life should be to seek knowledge, the highest of this endeavor, knowledge of self. I should want to know as much about what this is that I am as I possibly can. Not just for the sake of knowing alone, but for the sake of manifesting my purpose on earth as it is in heaven. Why are ye here, melanated brothers and sisters? It all has something to do with you everywhere if you see it with your eyes, if you can even think about it within your dome, it has something to do with you. And the more you obtain knowledge of self, the more you will start to tune in to what that something is. Imagine that you had the power to stop global world war or so-called World War III. And that the only reason why it commences is because the very people who could stop it were silent or caught up in their own delusionments. We're caught up chasing LeBron James, Beyonce, and Jay-Z news. We're caught up locked into their PlayStation games. We're caught up in futile arguments, falling into the system, falling into the traps, falling into the snares, doped up, smoked up, choked up, you name it. The very people who could have been a factor. How do you know we could have been a factor? How do you know we are a factor? Because we are the very people that they insist on keeping stupid. They insist on lying to us about our heritage, lying to us about our ancestry, lying to us about our history. They insist on doing this to us. For what purpose? What would happen if we knew these truths? I'm not talking about just in some scholastical way where, oh, bravo, bravo, we are descendants of the people of Kemet, or bravo, bravo, we are the Hebrew children talked about in the Bible, or bravo, it's not enough. I'm talking about effective knowledge, knowledge that affects the way you move, affects whatever it is you do. Our ancestors used to see everything around them as sacred. Every action they did was divine. They were holy ones. You understand? They were anointed ones. And every time if they carved something in a rock, it had a purpose. You see it in the Bible. You see where Jacob, aka Jacob, when he came a certain point in the Fertile Crescent, he found a stone and anointed that stone, and that was the location. The reason why he put had anointed that stone, that was the very location where he had wrestled with one of the representatives of heaven, and that was where he got his name, Israel. Everything, our ancestors. The further back in time you go, every time we lifted a pen, lifted something to carve something into the stone, everything. Look, from the ancient Mayans, the ancient Olmecs, the ancient Kemets, everywhere we went, they were doing sacred stuff. Everything. They looked at the moon, the sun, the stars, everything. They were paying attention to it all. They were in tuned. And here we are. Here we are, chasing Beyonce and Jay-Z. Here we are, broken, divided. We no longer recognize ourselves in each other, so that when we see one in our own likeness, we say, oh, that has nothing to do with me. Oh, that's your problem, Ak. We sing everybody's songs but our own. We know everyone's interpretation of our truths but our own. What has happened? And now they don't even have to lie to us anymore. we would defend their lies. We would defend their trickery. We would defend their deception. Let somebody talk about any of it and watch how fast somebody comes aggressively at us. I'm looking at the commentary. The commentary, peace and blessings to those who are watching and viewing right now. It says, get rid of, and in brackets, Egypt's idolatry, kinetic, and get with the prophetic, and in brackets again, Father God in the kingdom of heaven, in Christ Jesus, Yeshua, Ha, Mashiach. God delivered you out of Egypt, so don't return back. It's interesting. The reason why it's interesting to me is because I can recall a time when, as a result of what our ancestors were going through, they had to preserve the knowledge that they had. They had to preserve what was with them. And oftentimes they would conceal it in stories, they would conceal it in symbols, they would conceal it in formulas, even in poetry and varying signs, so that way it would be passed on and remain under the radar of their enemies. Now, today, many of us have forgotten about that, right? Many of us have forgotten about um, our intimate connection with the Most High. Our intimate connection with the Most High before uh, we were, confound in today's time to what is written in not parchment, not tablets, but the modern books of the day, and more so in their English translations of translations of translations. I often ask, did our story stop? Did the books close? I mean, we're still here after all. So did the voice of the Most High become silent or mute? Is there no more divine interaction? Is there any more inspiration? Or is it all gone? Are we left alone in the darkness? And I'm saying this not just in response to what I see in the commentary, but for me, um, I see hindrances of sorts. It's like, imagine that the only way you're able to walk is if you have a certain stick with you. And if you don't have this stick with you, you're not able to walk, even though your legs work perfectly fine. But you've convinced yourself that in order for you to walk, you need this stick, without which you believe that you will fall down. Yet the Most High gave you two legs. And with those two legs, the knowledge of how to use them. And even as you progress along the way, the very way which not only did the Most High prepare your legs for that way, but the Most High also prepared that way and daily interacts with you, daily bestows upon you sight, sound, sense, everywhere you go, always with you, closer to you than your jugular vein. Imagine that the entirety of what I'm saying to you right now, imagine that you, brothers and sisters, are that book. and a part of that story in your time as it's being written. So I can't be amongst the party of those who condemn an entire nation of kindred for the actions of one uh, generation of people. So, for example, what I'm saying, and this is a side note from what I'm talking about, I'm gonna get back to the point of this topic here. What am I saying is that that generation of people of Kemet, because not every ruler in the world has always been about the right thing amongst our peoples. Not everyone was about the right thing. So at that particular junction, a party amongst said people, said children, encountered the wickedness of the ruler of that age. Were the people of Kemet always worshiping idols? No, because before the idol, there was the idea, and the idea, you understand, the idea sourced itself from that which brought about the idea in the first place. So, for example, if I did something that you were not expecting and you cannot explain, so much so that it is in fact, miraculous, and instead of you identifying it for what it is, you elevate me and exalt me to a high place, a high status in your own mind, your own thinking, and then generations after you begin to deify me, and generations after that, because they start to forget my actual likeness or my actual intent or purpose, they start to engrave and carve things in my image. And then instead of regarding me and what I taught and what I said, they start to worship that image. And we've been doing this again and again and again. And believe it or not, while we talk about our Kemetic brothers, many of us are worshiping idols this very moment, this very day. Many of us have not abandoned idols ourselves. So how can I talk about the mistakes of the past of my Kemetic brothers and sisters without acknowledging that many of us are suffering the same sin as we speak? One of those idols are like this. In the Quran, for example, the Quran points out that one of the mistakes of the people of the book, the Nasara, was that they were worshiping the Messiah, Yeshua, Isa. And of the mistakes of the people of the book, those who are Bani Israel, the children of Israel, were that they were worshiping their scholars, that they were worshiping their scholars. And it was like, well, we excuse me, prophet, we don't worship the scholars. To which the Prophet Muhammad said, when you blindly accept what they teach without endeavoring for the facts, without, establishing the ground facts, when you blindly accept teachings, that's worshiping the scholars. Because, oh, this person is so and so, he's reputable for this way, he's renowned for that, he's renowned for this. So whatever he says is infallible, he's on point, he's sharp, he's this, that, and the other. So whatever he says, it's got to be right. See, every example that I see in life, I see instructions included. When I look at life in the animal kingdom, when I look at life in the animal kingdom, I see that everything that that animal needs to be able to survive, they are born with, they are equipped with. Otherwise, they just don't survive. A bird, you have the mother bird and the father bird, each one with their own task. The baby bird itself is born in a shell, an egg. Once the egg hatches, the bird is welcomed by its parents and given food. The bird can't fly yet, Thus, the reason it's perched up high in a tree in a nest to protect it because it can't fly. And not only that, but the nest is built in a certain way so that the baby doesn't fall out from moving around because it doesn't have wings to fly yet. You see, there's wisdom in this. And this is done all the way up until the bird's mature enough to start developing wings. Then it starts to see its parents flying. It starts to try to practice it himself until the parents start teaching them to fly. Then it gets to the point where the bird's able to fly himself. No books read. No books read. They are the living book. The parents are the living book for that bird. Now, I often ask, if the birds have wings, what do we have as humans? We have the ability to reason, to think, to think, to think. Something that for some reason, when push comes to shove, it's the first thing we want to sacrifice. We want to be so caught up in the theology according to so and so and so and so, and we don't think about what it is we're reading. I'm sitting here speaking to you and I haven't opened up a page yet. Because for me, the context, the essence is always with me, closer to me than my jugular vein. How is it that the Most High can tell me in the Quran that we are closer to you than your jugular vein? But for some reason, we ignore that part and keep on trying to source things externally alone. It's not enough for me to be quoting to you verses and passages. It has its place and it has its respect because some of us are gifted and qualified for that purpose. But at the end of the day, one of the critical components of our existence, of our nature, is our heart, our inner self. He who knows himself is what has been taught by those before us. Not he who knows this piece of parchment, not he who knows this rock, not he who knows this mountain, not he who knows this particular page in this particular book. All those things are under the lens of the knowledge of self, not the other way around. Because it's through self that the Most High communicates directly, intimately. So, with that said, I'd like us to reflect upon something. I was going to save this part of the conversation to the end, but it seems like I'm motivated to speak about it now. Because one of the things that happens in this world is we're so comfortable with our individual perspectives of what we can coin as God consciousness. But oftentimes I note that our God consciousness, or what we perceive to be God consciousness, is individualized or sectarian in its form, and or exclusive. And as a result, it makes us like sitting ducks, or puts us in a situation where we are weakened due to blindness. Perhaps even where we should not be, that ends up being where we are. Imagine signs all around you telling you you need to get up out of here. Imagine you watch a movie saying you need to get up out of here. Then you see something across the street. you didn't get up out of here yet, and you pass that by. Oh, that's just my imagination. You go to work, you overhear, you eavesdrop on a conversation, and in the conversation, the word that stands out to you is somebody talking about going out of town. All through the day, you keep on hearing sign after sign after sign, and you choose to ignore it because it didn't match what you think or what you've been taught or what you've been limited to regarding your scope of God consciousness. Mind you, that the very word limited should tell you in and of itself that whatever it is that you were upon is not God consciousness, because God consciousness is in no way limiting, meaning the knowledge is not limiting. It has what you might call what do you call that, barriers or borders or parameters that keep you up and right, up and straight. You understand? Right and exact. In other words, there are tools, there are rules, tools and rules, but you have to be the one to observe. You have to be the one to reflect. You have to be the one to think. The eyes are on your head and not needing you to look through the eyes of someone else's head. Because otherwise, we would all have just a face with no eyes, and it'd be one person amongst us with eyes, and we have to wait for them to open them to see. But that's not how we've been designed, is it? Each of us have a skull, and inside of that skull is a brain. Each of us has a heart, and I'm talking about I'm talking about this incorporeally, the nature of the self. Each of us has this, and we have the benefits of it individually and collectively. And even we see this example expressed through the nature ascribed to the 12 tribes. If memory serves me correct, it's the tribe of Levi that was the, if you would, the scribing or the ones meant to dictate the Torah. That was their responsibility. So the education, their development as per that tribe will revolve around um, them learning to do this effectively. Anyway, we need to understand that there's more to all of this than meets the eye. Especially when you understand how long we've been upon this planet in and of itself. Just dealing with being on this planet in of itself. And in what forms, in what ways we exist in this world as humans. When you see through archaeological findings that we've been on in this existence for, I mean, there's some that push to 1,000,000 years. That's a long time. That's a long time to be God conscious. It's a long time to have the wisdom of the Most High. It's a long time to be passing that down. It's a long time to be enduring all kinds of conflicts. Now, let me tell you something, because if you are not conscious of what I'm about to say now, we're in trouble, or you're in trouble, or some of us are in trouble, or maybe collectively we're in trouble. The saying is, on earth as it is in heaven. It's showing you a comparative or a bit of a contrast. Meaning, as we are experiencing what we have here, what we find here, what we experience here, this is a thumbnail sketch of what we would experience later. By mastering what we are to master here, by becoming adept here and now, prepares us to better deal with hereafter. If we can't deal with here and now, how will we be able to cope with hereafter? Because on earth as it is in heaven, learn how to deal with the devil now. You understand? So that any devil we have to deal with later, we already got this. But here we are, looking at the world, as sitting in this world as observers, believing that everything that we see around us is irrelevant or has nothing to do with us, and yet we observe it. And yet we observe it. Every story that we ever read that has something to do with our ancestry, we see people active, involved, uh, being functional assets to their times, not taking up space, but functional assets of their times. You understand? But here we are believing that we should just sit and observe. What brought that about? What has made us so docile? What has made us so passive? I can accept that, there's a time and place for everything, that with the proper understanding, with the proper wisdom, you know when to act and when not to act, when to do and when not to do. And we have plenty of examples of that scripturally as well as historically. In an era besieged by material distractions, reconnecting with our spiritual core, the divine essence that guided our forebears is a remedy to the I can't even speak, existential void many face today. This sacred path that guided our forebears is a remedy to the I just repeated myself. Let me say that again. Let's start that all over. In an era besieged by material distractions, reconnecting with our spiritual core, the divine essence that guided our forebears is a remedy to the existential void many face today. This sacred path calls us to imbibe the timeless wisdom encapsulated in the traditions, rituals, and narratives of our ancestors. Let these ancient truths guide our actions and interactions, infusing our daily lives with meaning and purpose, aligning with the divine order. And that, I think, is one of our problems, is that we really don't understand what our ancestors were on. Oftentimes, many of what we have to say today is through the eyes of the enemy. We're not speaking the way we speak. We're not communicating. We're not divining, if you would, the way our ancestors did. We are speaking our doctrines, if you would, through the voice of our enemy. And the proof is in the pudding, because we're divided by it, and it only divides us even further. The proof is in the fact that if we close any book that we have in our hand, we end up becoming lost. We are lost. And yet the Most High is closer to us than our jugular vein. How can you be lost when the source of wisdom is always with you? When the all-knowing is always close to you? How is it possible to be lost when you're in tuned to that truth? I'm asking this because, when I see the holy ones, when I speak about the holy one, I read about them, I always notice that they are empty-handed. I don't read any stories of them carrying around pamphlets or booklets or anything like. Yes, they had the ark and things like that. If you deal with that story, other stories, we have people who engraved things in stone, whatever the case may be. But as an individual, and especially the people who would, what I want to say, journey for a higher enlightenment, oftentimes one of the signs of that is they would not have anything at all. You understand? They would not have any. They would sell the property, sell possessions, and they would detach, not attach. Do we really listen to the voice of the Most High? Are we really listening? Are we really paying any attention? Are we paying any heed to anything at all? God consciousness is not merely a theological construct, but a lived experience accessible through introspection, communion, and the diligent pursuit of knowledge. It requires peeling back layers, the layers of ego and social cultural conditioning to embrace our truths. We've been socially, culturally conditioned through the devilry of the powers that be. We think in their way, and that's why many of us are so arrogant and you can't tell us anything, right or left. You can't tell us anything. Our programming, our misprogramming is heavy, family. I am telling you, it's heavy for us to sit there and see a people suffering and say to ourselves that has nothing to do with us. When I see these things, I see a strategy. I think part of the problem that we have is that we expect something for nothing. We have this idea of what's in it for us, or what I want to say, why should we help you? You haven't done nothing for us. Why should we help you? And you call us these bad names. You say this and that about us. See, in the art of war, none of that matters. Whatever they've got to talk, whatever name they've called me, it doesn't matter. The point that I see is that the enemy that you have is the same enemy I have. Now, look, I've got stones and rocks, and I've got over here oil, and I've got over here bags of rice. What do you have for me? It looks like you guys got large numbers. You know how to aim those weapons you've got there pretty good. Let's make a what? What is this guy saying today? Make a deal. That's called negotiation. That's how you come at each other. I'm not looking to be your friend. I didn't say I was wanting to be your friend. Let's shake hands and be merry. Let's sing kumbaya songs together. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying I see that you are in a position of need. I'm in a position of need, and we could make negotiation. Once this is over, then we go our separate ways. I don't have any obligations towards you. You don't have any obligations towards me. Hakuna Matata. That's called building an alliance. An alliance is not based upon whether you like the guy or not. That's not what alliance is based upon. He has no shoes, you got shoes. He's tough. Your enemy, his enemy. Go ahead. I got another pair of these shoes. Go ahead, take these on. Why? Because that'll help him fight the enemy better. Once he deals with the enemy, both of your enemies dealt with. My point is that we have to change the way we are encountering these things. It's not about going in expecting freebies, help me for nothing, or becoming emotional. This isn't about emotions. This isn't about how you feel. He called you a name, boo-hoo. He called you the N-word, so what? Many people talk smack all day long. But if you watch the thorough ones amongst people, that might be the ones that'll show up fastest on your behalf than anyone else. Because you already know where he stands. And at this time, you know you both got the same darn enemy. Again, we're not talking about being friends. Friends is another level of something with its own qualifications. This isn't about friendship. This is about survival. This is about living. This is about keeping your mother, your father, your brother, sister, your children, your wife safe. And if you know these people, these people badges are kicking down your door, causing you all kinds of hell, all kinds of drama, beating you up, tying you up, kneeing on your neck, smacking your girl around, kicking your children. They do that too. And you're telling me that the suffering of another is not your business? I'm telling you, if I had some way to be of assistance to the Palestinian people, not because I want to be their friends, I would come up with a negotiation. Like, look, I know this, that, and the other that'll help your situation. I can be an asset to you. But in return, we're going to need some of this. Sign right here. I've learned that through even in Islam, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to make an agreement, even with his enemy, to make sure that his people would not get harmed. They call it the pact of under the tree. I will say it in Arabic, but I can't remember the Arabic right now. But it was the pact or the agreement under the tree, because that's where it was done at, and that allowed his followers to be able to go up into Mecca, do what they needed to do, and go about their way. Everybody was happy. That's the kind of talks we need to be having. You want reparations? What are you giving them? Maybe y'all need to be working up on those farms that they're talking about. That's the clip I was looking for. They were talking about these folks from like South Africa whatnot are up in here now, manning these farms. Some of these other people are at a loss of words because their farms are depleted of workers. Why? Because all of the illegal aliens are being kicked up out of the country. So now they're like, what do we do? What do we do? And the way that your president wants to speak of, well, these were the black jobs that they were taking. What do you mean these are the black jobs? Says who? Who said what makes these black jobs? How are these farming jobs that these Latinos or so-called illegal aliens were doing? How are these black jobs? What makes them black jobs? Why are they saying? Because historically, if you go back in time, if you spin the clock back, our enslaved ancestors were occupying those same jobs. Now, the reason why I said what I said is that maybe we should be picking up those jobs is under a condition. Like, okay, give me the pitchfork, but I need you to sign up right here. Remember the reparations we were talking about? I'm going to need that. I'm going to need the reparations. I'm going to need a piece of my own land. I'm going to need, we farm. You talk about, oh, you want us to farm now, right? Because you done kicked up the Mexicans and whatnot up out of here. So you want us to farm. Or you need us now. We're important now. We just a minute ago you were kneeing our neck and everything else, but now you want to talk about black jobs. Well, if these are black jobs, guess what? Black jobs come for high cost. I'm going to need some reparation as a payment for those black jobs. Sign right there. Pay me. I'm not looking for the dimes and nickels you were giving them. That's a black job. That's what you called it. That's what he said. That's what the man said. These were black jobs. If they're black jobs, they need to be value of gold. Yeah, toss me a pitchfork, toss me a backhoe, the tractor trailer, whatever. After you hand over those reparations, after you agree that once we sign this document, you are no longer my authority. Go ahead, give me that black job. If under that condition, otherwise, get one of your Tesla robots to take that job. Get Optimus to take that job. I'm just saying, this is the mindset we need to be having. We need to be having a position of authority, of self-determination. I am an authority because that's who I say I am. That's what I manifest. I don't need you to tell me that I'm a nation within a nation. I don't need you to tell me that I have a right to self-determination. Who are you to give me that right? The right is inherent. It's inherited. This is my right as a human being living on earth. Who are you that I have to be born into the world automatically subjected to you? Who are you? What kind of devilry is this? So if you ask me, those Latinos are in prime time for an alignment. Our thinkers, their thinkers, should be sitting at a table right now with negotiations. We're not talking about friendships or whatnot. I happen to have some friends among the community, among the Latino community. But what I'm talking about is the thinkers amongst them, the thinkers amongst our own, need to be sitting at a table, understanding one another, establishing negotiations. Like, look, we need some help here. We see y'all in a situation, they choking you out, they brutalizing you, they doing this, that, and the other to you. And over here, you see what they're doing to us. We got this, that, and the other. We got some land over here. We got rice. We've got cotton. We've got grains. We've got you name it. What you need. We need some arms. We need some boots on the ground. We need some manpower. We need, we're stronger in numbers. You understand? We're stronger together. We're stronger. Whatever. What do you need? Tell me what you need. We'll say, here's what we need. Here's the paper. Here's the document under the tree. Where do we sign? Negotiation. Where are our negotiators? We could travel all across the world and complain, they're doing this to us, they're doing that to us. Oh, racism, racism, racism. Calling us all kinds of bad names. What are you going to do about it? Because I know in the streets, you talk smack to the wrong person, he's going to do something about it. How come we can't take that same energy on a unified level? That's what confuses me. We're so tough when it comes to each other. But when it comes to that man, suddenly all that toughness is like, yeah, yes, officer. Yes, officer. See, all I was trying to do was, okay, officer. Yes, sir, officer. You want me to sit right there? Okay, officer. I'm just saying, we have to revise, revolutionize the way we think about this and see ourselves as a factor. You understand? We have to see ourselves as a factor in this. We have to stop seeing ourselves as subjects of another people. The minute you stop seeing yourself as a subject of another people and of your own people, there's another part of this, because you can't just stop seeing yourself as someone else's subject, but then you have to establish what kind of a people are you? Who are the elements of your people? Who are the elements of your nation? Who are they? What do they look like? What qualifies? Then you got to look at ways to sustain it, to protect it, defend it. That's where alliances will come in as well. You can't just sit there and talk smack and talk tough and think that, well, we're black people, we're united, we want our rights. Because the enemy's going to, well, what you got to protect that with? They don't look like you guys got anything over there. So we're going to come up there and smack you around. You'll go home and be good people again. Be compliant, docile people all over again, because all you did was talk the talk, but you did not have anything to protect it, to protect your points of view. I know dudes in the street, intelligent, but also tough. They're going to speak their mind, and whether you agree or disagree, they're going to go about their business because they know, well, my perspective is protected, and you can't do anything about it. You understand? Is our points of view, is our perspective protected? Are we able to state our case in a way that it can't be threatened? What about our interest? Here we are looking at what the United States interests are in other parts of the world. But what are the interests of so-called black people, so-called African Americans, so-called melanated? What is our interest? And what are we willing to do to not only obtain it, but to protect it? We have to think like a nation if we want to be treated like one. We've got to get out of this dependency mentality. What? Oh, that's right. You still believe in that system. You believe that you will one day be able to vote your way into favorability. You'll be able to vote reparations into your life, asking the very people who's been denying you for reparations for however long, to pleading and begging for them to please give us reparations, please. Doing this over and over again and getting no results. Has it worked for you yet? We've been at this for quite some time now. We've lost all kinds of lives, all kinds of leaders. Have you got your reparations yet? Have you gotten anything that you've been begging from them for? The fact that we have to beg them for anything should tell you there's a problem with our thinking. There's a problem. The fact that we keep on believing in their system that was never designed for us in the first place. There was not one piece of writing ever with you or me in mind. But we keep on trying to apply that system as if somehow it has something to do with us. If you want to know where those words would have applied, it has nothing to do with us. The established authorities structure, the system, the policies, you understand, they have nothing to do favorably to do with us. I say favorably because many of those rules or laws were brought into being in order to put us in check, not to help us out, not to do us any favors, to do us any good, but to keep us in check, to keep us locked in and in line, so that anything greater, more or greater than, you might as well not even think about it, because this is how you got to go about. You got to vote. You got to do this. You got to get out and vote. We need to make ourselves relevant. South Africa, you understand, makes themselves relevant in the matter of Israel, the crimes against humanity going on there, by identifying the crimes and the criminals and putting forth the context, holding them to account. Now, however much significance you want to give to the system that they are using, that's another matter. But my point is, they're relevant, because now that information is there and it's sticking. And even though the powers that be in Israel are basically, ducking and dodging all of that, eventually it's going to catch them. Eventually that'll end up being a snare. When the conflict gives them an L, you understand? When the conflict returns to them an L, you lose. When that conflict returns to them that L, because you can't keep committing crimes forever. You understand? The laws, the divine laws, won't allow that. You can't just keep on killing and taking unaliving. You can't just keep on doing that to people and remain, scot-free and unchallenged by the divine, by law in general. Eventually, you will be held to account. That's the way it's always been. And when that happens, you got a whole paper trail of, what you put forth, of crimes against humanity. You understand? So, pardon me a minute, because I have to switch laptops. And, of course, you know what this means. Let me, some days it just be like that, right? So let me just put this right here.
Westman. Assalamu alaikum. How's it going, family? Got a moment? Come walk with a brother. Just got a few things on my chest. You mind if I break bread with you? Just for a minute? 60 to the body, the beast strikes again against the guard. A moment of pause. Rest in peace, Jay. The sun could still shine on a rainy day. From where I stand, just another black man striving hard. You understand? I write these bars like the 12 tribes. I vibe when I see we come together. I ride like Maya Angelou, come closer. High five like my Baba. Right. Keep the light on bright. What a righteous mess. How do we fight the stress? They say we are divinely blessed, but the weights are pressed on my chest. My soul is on a journey called life. I sigh as I caress the dark melanated skin through the night. As I look and I see manifestations of one divinity. Breathe. It was inside that I holler to the source of the voice of many waters, beseeching the holy powers, signs and symbols. My rhymes not for the simple. That's me standing outside looking inside the window of the light dome. Wanna need to know. Now watch me flow. Some days I just want to be. Some days I just don't want to see. Yet it's often so clear to me. Sometimes things are just the way they meant to be. A burden that I must bear, yet one never too hard to bear. In the mirror sometimes I just look and stare. Oh, you think you're somebody, but what if I told you what you see is only your perception of reality? And nobody cares about the way you think things ought to be. Walk water cautiously, make sure you walk in a way that's drama free. Somebody pass me the keys to the heavens. My eyes, I see the God everywhere. Especially when I watch the way she moves. Especially when I observe the glow of the moon. Wake up. Meanwhile, back to the noise of the world, the murder, the hatred, the rain falls against the pavement, red and blue lights flash in the distance, black cries why. It was in that instance I knew the value of life should never be taken for granted. And damn it, the devil's a clear enemy. Give the light of God, you can handle it. Just hold on to the rope of Allah a little longer, and make sure there's a light on in the dome of each one you're standing with. Don't assume or take the risk. The test, the way they meant for me, the way it's meant to be. After the rain is clear to see. Some days I just want to be. Some days I just want to be. Some days I just don't want to see. Yet it's often so clear to me. Sometimes things are just the way they meant to be. The test, the way they meant for me, the way it's meant to be. After the rain is clear to see. Some days I just want to be. Just want to be.
Okay, as you can see, I have returned. I had to switch up here. Our egos, brothers and sisters, is our greatest hindrance, but could be our greatest ally. Our self-esteem, often through the roof. We, in a good day, we are larger than life. And that can actually be one of our greatest weapons, used appropriately, used with the proper knowledge. This pursuit, this God conscious pursuit, is both personal and collective. As we awaken to our higher selves, our communities glean strength from our enlightened engagements. Many of us know very well from the teachings passed down that the inherited role that we should be playing is one of light, one of illumination, one of showing how it's done. If you haven't noticed, that tends to be something we do very well. We show the world how it's done in pretty much everything that we do. The world takes after our examples, especially when it has to do with what? When it has to do with matters of the soul, matters of expressions, matters of art, design, etc. So I'm asking, what relevance, what, where do we fit in concerning um, the global events of today? And whatever that is, are we upholding our responsibilities? Or are we simply spectators sitting on the side of the road? Because if we're the latter, then it could be said that it makes no difference if we are here or not. The outcome will remain the same. Think about what I'm saying. Whatever you may think of concerning Iran, whatever you may think of concerning Israel, who are you and what part in all of this, in the scheme of things, do you have to play? What is your role in this life? Are you nobody or are you somebody? Does your voice matter? Does your opinions matter? Does your actions matter? Whatever it is, the battle between Russia and Ukraine, where is the melanated voice in all of this? China and Taiwan, where is the black voice in this? North Korea and South Korea, where is the black voice in this? Any location in Africa, name it, where is the black voice in this? Or are we just a bunch of docile people who will settle just to be farmers or farmers' hands? You understand, the henchmen or whatever that work on farms. Is that all we amount to, is with black jobs? That's it. That's all we're about. We've got doctors amongst us, scientists amongst us, intellectuals of different sorts amongst us. What part do we play in this world? Are we always, is our destiny to be of other rank and file amongst foreigners' armies? Because right now, that's what we can clearly see. We'll readily, participate to support the power structure of foreign bodies. So does our voice even represent us? Or are we so much in the habit of speaking for everybody else that we have no voice of our own, no name of our own, no place to call home? What is our relevance in the world? How can we think to get any of the things we cry for, and we fail to manifest relevance? I'm trying to see in what way are we demonstrating relevance. And you'd be surprised. What's interesting is that there are factions in the world that are fully aware of what we are going through in the States and in Africa. They're fully aware. They see it. And different ones have different opinions about that. But it almost seems like others see us better than we see ourselves. Some take advantage of that fact. Some take advantage of it. And some wish they could, offer some type of aid or help, but some of them are worse off than what we believe ourselves to be. I'm just saying, what are we made of? What's the point of being melanated if we don't manifest what it means to be melanated? What's the point of being black on earth? What's the point of being who we are if we don't be who we are? What's the point of having all of these qualities, all of this ancient, noble, great ancestry, etc., etc.? What's the point in all these titles and badges of honor? And yet we don't have the heart to manifest any of it, because we get this idea that it doesn't have anything to do with us. Now, this right here, it could be viewed in different ways. It could be viewed in the way that like ones like Dr. Umar was speaking against. And like I said, you know, if our objective is to find friends, I think in this day and age, when it comes to some of these events, we'd be wasting our time. In fact, I would even say that, you know, the Palestinians aren't interested in friends; they're interested in help. They're interested in the arsenal and booms from being dropped over their heads. That's what they're interested in. Those Latinos are interested in being able to remain where they live and keep their jobs and what have you, and not be, you know, sent out as illegal aliens. That's what they're interested in. They're not. The argument is not whether or not how many friends they have. They've got enough friends. They've got friends by the tongue among their own. And if anybody in the non white community in America is more culturally orientated when it comes to the family structure, between the black and the Latino, I would say the Latino are more family grounded between the two. Many of us are busted families. We don't even know what a family, we don't even have an idea of what this means. What do you do? If you come to somebody with the obligations that you would take for granted as a family, we will be angry. We will look at each other like, why are you asking me for money? Why are you asking me for this? Why don't you go to that person? All the backwards thinking that we can think of is what we put forth. But at least these Latinos know how to respect their mothers. They know how to come correct to their fathers. They know how to respond to each other amongst the same family, amongst the same crews and alliances that they have amongst themselves, so that they know when push comes to shove, they got each other's back. They don't have to worry about looking right and left and that their own Latino comrade is going to do them some wrong. They know they're all on the same side of the battle line. But when it comes to being a black man in America, not only do I got to look at the enemy, but I got to look at you too. I got to look at you, and I can't ask you for anything because you might not. You why get it yourself? Why are you asking me? This is what we're doing, and you telling me we don't need allies? Are you sure about that? We don't need allies in this day and age. An alliance is probably the greatest thing we could ever, get a hold of, if we could get a hold of that. But that requires us to see ourselves as a nation. Nobody allies with an individual. Nations ally with nations. You come to somebody as an individual, where's your people at? Oh, we're divided. Go back and get yourself together, then come back and we'll talk about these negotiations at the table. All these crews, all these groups, all these gangs, all these militias, all these different orders and factions that we take pride in developing amongst ourselves. If we're so wise, so enlightened, so clever, so intelligent, so historically endowed with knowledge and everything, why are we so divided? That's what annoys me. I get so tired of seeing all of these YouTube videos of all of our enlightened ones, all this enlightenment, all these holy trinkets and garments and costumes and all this going on. We got all kinds of magic tricks, you name it, all kinds of wise words to say, you name it. But we're just still divided and still suffering the consequences of being conquered. Our ego will tell, I'm not conquered. I'm not conquered. Well, you've got it. You got your own turf. That's your own. That you're the sovereign over. If you do, why aren't you breaking any bread? Let's talk about some alliances here. Let's talk about some negotiations because, you know. But most of us, we have a lot of exaggeration going on. We like to dream or fantasize a kind of greatness. Yes, we are descendants of a great people, and we have the potential to be great even today as we speak. But all these elements have prerequisites. Boasting about greatness is not enough because you get on the street and you talk all that tough talk, and somebody will show you that you're not as tough as you said you were. And I'm saying that not just as an individual, but as a collective. As a collective. How is it that you can be aware of this and not want to establish a solution? Why see that we're divided, see that we're broken, see that your state of division, irrespective of your titles, your labels, your group, your religious order, how is it you have all these high qualities that we boast about, but it's just not enough to unify? Or sometimes it gets worse than that. It gets worse where you teach yourself why not to increase the unity or be unified amongst other factions. Then you tout that, well, if they don't have our banner, we can't have anything to do with them. These are extreme ideas, and you can't convince me that that's God consciousness. You can't convince me that something that will make us weaker is God consciousness. Because the last I checked, God consciousness is wholesome, holy, unified. These are the critical words. When we say the Most High is one, that's a nature as well as a numeral. When you say the number one, it's unity. How are you going to sit there and tell me that you serve the Most High, but you're divided? In what way? In what service are you providing on behalf of the Most High in that divided state of yours? To where you don't see any benefit of alliances. What kind of God consciousness is that? As we confront the shadows of ignorance and fear that cloud our vision, let us dare to confront ourselves and the world around us with unflinching honesty and unwavering courage. The journey to self-awareness and divine realization beckons us to strip away the layers of deception, embrace the profound mysteries of existence, and align with the divine order that weaves through all creation. Reflect on the wisdom that surrounds you and rekindle the flame of truth within. As we traverse the profound terrain of global consciousness, let us stand together as a united force of empowerment, enlightenment, and transformation. The time for action, unity, and spiritual awakening is now. Like I said, you can type in the search bar of Google, YouTube, or any of these, and you'll find tons and tons and tons of wise advice from people that look like you and me. We've got all the answers. All the answers. Sometimes I wonder if we're thinking of the right questions. If we're thinking of the right questions, the question here isn't a matter of, like I said, it's not a matter of being friends with these folks. It's not a matter of being friends with these folks. But the thing is the devil doesn't like them either. The devil doesn't like them either. Like I said, I don't need to be your friend, but we got this same devil right here, and he's trying to deal with you, and he's trying to deal with me. So the last I checked, I'm not trying to go down. It don't look like you trying to go down. You got two arms, and so do I, and they both work. I'm just saying, an alliance deals with a devil a lot better than all you individual and super imposters. All this wisdom and enlightenment, but for some reason you just can't get the algorithm together that brings it all together and understands the benefits of alliances. You can't find any real noble war in history where alliances, weren't had. Even Genghis Khan had to have alliances. The Ottoman Empire had to rely on alliances so often. Many of the African wars, they had to rely on alliances to win. All the world wars, those were alliances. That's what they call themselves, the allied forces. So no matter how you look at it, you're not going to win any fight all by yourself. And all you religious folks, you think that this is what the Most High wants us to sit here, broken, divided, depending, pandering, pleading to the devil for mercy, pleading to the devil, give me reparations. I'm not against reparations. I'm against begging for it. I'm against begging for it. Look, you already know what it is that we need. And you know they're not going to give it to you kindly. But many of you trying to uphold Master, lift him up, keep him alive. We got to protect Master. Master under attack. Master need help. They want to attack Iran. Let's vote and make sure they win because we need to keep Master alive. I'm telling you, man, snap out of it, because how deluded can you be when you want to keep alive the very enemy that wants to keep you enslaved? History is replete with instances of empires built and revolutions sparked through strategic alliances. Today, the diaspora's potential to forge substantive ties across continents holds the key to transforming social political landscapes. By knitting a tapestry of alliances with our brothers and sisters of color worldwide, we magnify our influence and create resilient networks. These alliances, grounded in equality, understanding, and shared aspirations, are vital in sculpting a future that honors our collective heritage and aspirations. How big is your network overseas? How many ties do you have overseas? Are you just stuck on your street? Some of us don't even have connections outside of your own neighborhood. Some of you just only have YouTube or Facebook connections. That's it. That's the closest you got to any type of connection with somebody outside of your own town. But do you have any real connections? Are you exporting goods back and forth to each other, breaking bread that way? Like, look, I'll hold it down here. Go ahead and ship me some of those graham crackers. I'll ship you some honey, and let's just keep this going on. I give you honey, you give me graham crackers, and we'll keep in touch. Here's my card. How many of you got that kind of thing going on? Many of us don't even have that going on at all. Not even thinking in that way. You're thinking of getting up, going to your Walmart job, or going to your Nordstrom job, or your Dillard's job, or working for the other man, keeping their business strong and live, keeping their pockets filled with wealth. As long as you got a job, you're okay. As long as you can buy another PlayStation game, you're okay. As long as you can keep getting tickets or subscriptions to the next ball game, you're okay. Anything else? What's that got to do with me? What's that got to do with me? Look how low we think. Look how low we think. Look how low our aspirations are, family. Look how low our target mark is. How many of you want some oil? How many of you are targeting oil, owning land and propping up your own oil silos on, not just putting anyone's oil in it, but your own oil? How many of you are going to take that oil and say, look, I'm going to think of a country. Look, Liberia, I've got oil. What you want to do? I've got oil in these silos right here. I got oil, and I got a nice steady supply. What you want to do? How many is talking like that? How many of you are talking like that? You got your shea butter. A lot of sisters have got these shea butter businesses. You selling any of that shea butter abroad, overseas? You got some networking going on where you got some of that shea butter in boxes, cargo, stacks of boxes, shipping it overseas to New Zealand. We got to think outside of the box, outside of the continent, and think as a people instead of your stupid individual selves. I'm not here alone. I'm not all by myself in this world. And I know that for whatever this is that I am to survive, in anything that looks like this, that's of a similar stock, I've got to do what it takes to keep it protected. Because I know that whatever is the enemy of what I am, is also the enemy of what you are. And if it deals with you, eventually it's going to come and deal with me later. This is the reason why Iran is important. This is the reason why the Palestinians are important. Because once they're dealt with, where do you think they're going to go next when they ran out of reindeer games to play? Where do you think they're going next? Who do you think they're going to be wanting to pick on next? You got any nukes? No, I don't think you do. So that means if you're not as tough as they are, they could just smack you around, and what are you going to do about it? Anybody stop a knee on the neck yet? Anybody stop from getting police brutality yet? Any of that stopped yet? Has any of the protesting stopped any of that yet? The last I checked, every time I see these things happen, I see the victim getting brutalized and people standing on the side watching and YouTube and getting, making sure it gets on Instagram. Is that what we're limited to? Is that who we are? Is that our relevance? Sitting ducks? Is that our relevance? Is that what we are supposed to be? Sitting ducks? I'm confused about that, family. Somebody's got to inform me. Because the last I checked, I was born free. And it doesn't make any sense for me to be born out of a mother's womb whose flesh, whose skin looks just like mine, only to be ruled by someone that looks nothing like me. Tell me how that makes sense. I come out of a black woman, the womb of a black woman, from the loins of a black man, and you're telling me that the world I come into, I'm ruled by people who don't look anything like me. Like, what's wrong with this picture? I look overseas, I look in China, and find Chinese mothers and fathers giving birth to Chinese babies ruled by Chinese people. Go to Russia, Russian people giving birth to Russian babies ruled by a Russian. You carry that on and on and on. Even in countries that aren't as strong and mighty. Go to well, Brazil is strong, but go to Brazil, go to anywhere you go, you'll find the people ruled by their own likeness. Go to Japan. Do you see any like if you go to Japan, is there like an Italian man ruling Japan? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine how the Japanese would take that? You go to Japan and who's your president? Oh, that Mikhail something of it. I don't know. You'll be like, what? How that happen? But here we are, having no problem with being born into a world and someone that don't look nothing like you is telling you what to do, ruling you, as if somehow they have some divine right to do so. And you're satisfied with that because they're your brothers. Brother, stop talking that talk. Everybody's the same. Oh, really? Show me how. Show me where. Show me the similarities. Since everybody's, show me the similarities. Show me where you're on an equal playing field. I'll wait, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Not going to hold my breath, folks. Relevance. In what way are you relevant in the world? Imagine this? Okay, I'll say this to you, because I don't just talk the talk. Your brother Quest, man, I know some Iranians. I'm not saying that makes me any kind of more relevant than you, but it makes a difference because it means that I know, I can relate to some of their struggle. I understand some of the people through dialogue, through correspondence with each other. And in some cases, we're actually friends. In most cases, we're simply brothers of faith. You understand? Brothers and sisters of faith. We share a common faith, and so that gives us something in common with one another. Even if there's nothing else. If that was all we had, that gives us something to talk about at that negotiation table. You understand? Gives us something to talk about at that negotiation table. Remember that negotiation table? Gives us something to talk about. Networking. And you'd be surprised at how that benefits when it comes to the work market, when it comes to the economic market and all that, having these types of networks, having these kinds of ties. Because sometimes at the end of the day, when you find yourself in some serious jam, sometimes you will turn to your own family and they will turn their backs on you quicker than you can close and open your eyes with a blink. But then you find that the only people who will actually have your back and help you, your own folks will leave you to die. Trust me, I know. I've experienced it. They will leave you to die and make every bit of excuses of why they can't, why not to help you. And most of the excuses don't be anything justifying them not being able to help you. They will blame you for your poverty, for your suffering. They will blame you. Well, that's your fault. Whether it is or not, the thing is oftentimes you end up finding a whole nother people being the first to help you and not even think anything about it. Some will here, brother, here, and not even ask any questions, not ask who you are, where you are, how do I know this is not a scam? None of that. And they'll keep on going about their business. You may never see them again. I'm just showing you the difference in what we've become versus what we once were. They're behaving how we once behaved. What happened? Why did we absorb so much of the enemy, so much of the devilry from the devil, that that we will even turn against our own self, even not just as a collective, but as an individual? You will look in the mirror and despise what you see so much that you got to alter it to become and look more like a devil because you hate what's looking back at you in the mirror. This. I'm telling you, that foul programming is real. AI. We call that AI. That's artificial intelligence. I like to call that DI, devilish intelligence. That's the programming that's been downloaded into many of our domes. These are the reasons why we have the hardest time amongst all people on the planet Earth. We have the hardest time unifying. Think about this. These Latinos are in the same continent that many of us have been brought up in the U.S. Same continent. Some of them suffering some of the same suffering. And if you look at their history, you understand some of them endured some of the same forms of racism. That's why many of them are Catholic today. You understand? It was either that way or the highway. But they made sure they stayed unified. We understand that it took a lot to break us apart as a people. But the thing is once you have that knowledge, what excuse do you have? Once you know that that's how you got to where you are, once you know that that's what's has caused you to be divided today, how do you still remain divided? So yeah, we need to invest in the building of alliances and networks. We need to have local networks. We need to have networks abroad. We should have all kinds of channels of communication going on to relevant people. Not again, I'm not talking about chasing friends. We're not. This isn't about friendship. This means that you're going to need something to invest. You're going to need something to. It's a give and take. You have to stop thinking that people are going to just do stuff just out of the kindness of their heart. But we have to sit at that table with an understanding of what we want and what we're willing to give to get what we want. You understand? Negotiation. Stop begging for reparations. What do you get your reparations? Who's at the negotiation table for that? If we're so adamant about wanting reparations, what do they get in return? I understand the argument. We've been doing this and that for years. We've been working our ancestors. We understand that, but you see, do they look like they care about any of that? Does this enemy look like they care about any of that? So why keep at that argument? Whose mind is going to change because you keep telling them about how they're benefiting off of the backs of our ancestors? Whose mind is changing because of that? Have they changed it yet? Or maybe you think that if you argue with them on that note one more time, they'll change their mind then. If you want that reparations, you need to sit at that table and figure out what you're willing to offer in return. And it has to be something that bears weight. You know, the economy is about to take a head dive. If they do anything to that Iran, you can say goodbye to the economy, the U.S. economy as you know it. Say goodbye, because it will be, I mean, like a free fall roller coaster drop. Say goodbye to the economy, and it'll be more than just farmhands that they'll be needing at that time. And who are they going to turn to try to replenish the workload or whatnot? Since everybody else has been kicked out, you know, all the illegal immigrants have been kicked out. So who else is there to remain that's of a low class level worker? Remember that those quote unquote black jobs? Like I said, you know, if these are so-called black jobs, okay, black has a value. Black has a value these days. Black isn't like it was before. Black isn't enslaved. Black isn't subjected to you. Black is gold. Black is valuable. You're going to need to give me something for this black to work on your farms. We're going to need to sign some agreements. I'm going to need that reparation up front or in quarterly installments. whatever. My point is, negotiation table, please. That's how the world operates, folks. All this begging and pandering, that's not how they operate. No nation is doing that anywhere. You understand? No nation is doing that. Any nation in the world that is thinking even about remotely being successful, they know they got to negotiate. They know they got to they got to break bread. They got to come to the table with something. We've got gold mines over here. You look like you could use some gold over there, but we're going to need some of that military equipment. We're going to need some of that military tech. We're going to need some of this. We're going to need our roads paved. We're going to need, better outfits. We're going to need some, factories of our own. That's what Burkina Faso is saying. They're not coming begging in Russia. Russia, give us. We need food. We need food. They're not going to Russia for any of that. They're coming to Russia like, look, we're going to go ahead and make sure you get the proper financing you need, whatever. But we're going to need some of this, that, and the other. Negotiation. By doing that, Burkina Faso has made themselves relevant to Russia, and Russia to them. And because of their relevance, Russia doesn't want to lose that opportunity and that the benefits that they would be able to get from Burkina Faso. So look, we've got some military might, and it looks like you're going to need a little bit of muscle because your enemy's a strong enemy. But with us behind you, we can keep them off your back for us. Just, make sure we get a little bit of that gold. Okay, fine. Go ahead. You can get this share. You get this amount. Look out for us. That's negotiation. That's what that is. That's negotiation. Black brothers and sisters in the United States, what are you willing to put at the table for them reparations, for the right of self-determination, for actual liberation? What are you bringing to the table? Stop thinking you're going to get these guys to give you anything for free. They're not giving you nothing. When are they giving you something? When? What year? What time? Did they give Martin Luther King something? They gave him a loss of life. That's what they gave him. Did they give Malcolm X something? What they give Nat? Did they give him something? So I'm saying, all of our great leaders, all of our great, fighters are great, activists. They understood this. That's why their lives were taken. Not because Martin Luther King wasn't begging anybody for anything. Malcolm X wasn't begging for anybody for anything. Martin Luther King was trying to get up in their pockets. We need some reparations. Cut the check is what he said. Cut the check. Malcolm X was like, by any means necessary. So where do you see any of these leaders pandering to the enemy? Marcus Garvey was like, okay, you don't want to break bread. I want to set up my own shop. I'm going to set up my own enterprise. I don't need you. I'm going to go. Not only am I going to set up my own enterprise, but I've already got the import-export set up. Come on, Liberia. Come on, Liberia. Let's go ahead and make some business happen. Let's negotiate. How come all these great ones shows you how it's done, for some reason we think we could get this done some other way? We don't have to be united. We don't. What? I'm just saying, family. The lessons, class dismissed. The lessons have already been put forth. I'm not saying nothing new. These are examples that many of us know very well. But it's one thing to store these memories and have this knowledge in our domes. It's another thing to do what it takes to manifest what we've learned into actual action, a call to conscious action. The talk is we've been talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. We've been talking for years about all the right things to do, all the right actions to make. So we know well what it takes. We know very well what it takes. I'm telling you, we would make a great difference if we had a party of intellectual brothers and sisters to go sit and break bread with them Latinos and say, look, we see what you guys are suffering. We see what was happening to you guys over here. Let's negotiate. What you want? Here's what we want, what you want. That's how you get the job done. It's not, like I said, it's not about trying to make friends with these people. Why are you going to make someone be your friend if they don't want to be your friend? They calling you this, that, and the other, letting you know they don't really like you. Calling you all these names. They're telling you they don't like you. But this isn't about whether they like you or not. This is about, hey, we are dealing with the same problem. We're dealing with the same problem. And I can't confront this problem all by myself. You can't confront the problem all by yourself. Again, let's negotiate. Brothers and sisters, you need to be negotiating with them. They have something, they are relevant to Black people. All these crises that you're seeing in these different communities in the world is relevant to us. When the enemy is the same, that's the instigator, the causer of unaliving in every one of these cases. In every single case you're finding, wherever that's the case, wherever that is true, when there's the devil involved in any of these scenarios, that makes the victims of that relevant to us. Just on that level alone. I don't even have to get on the level of the nature of why we're here in the first place. Why are we existing? Why are we melanated? Why do we have darkened skin? Why all of these things? I don't even have to go to that level. I don't have to go there. All I have to, it's just basic principle, art of war type things. So wake up to this. Wake up, because you already know. You. If you have a God conscious mind, as many of us like to boast, then you know that what's being said is thorough. It's real. It's real. It's like this. If a nerd in high school or in middle school, or whatever, can't fight, and he knows he can't fight, he's smart enough. I can't fight, man. I don't know. These guys, they keep taking my lunch money and running off with it. So the nerd's gonna be like, he's gonna look for the tough dude in the school, like, hey, look like you struggling in that math class. You having some difficulty in math class, but you know what I could do? I could help you out and make sure you get an A next time. Oh, really? Yeah. What do you want me to do? These guys over there, they keep taking my lunch money every time I cross the road. They want to come and check me and take my lunch money. Oh, don't worry about that, man. I got it. You see how that negotiation? All through your life, you find examples and where you've had to negotiate, where you had to break bread and build alliances and strengthen ties. Just like that. It's a part of life. That's what all this. That's what marriage is. That's what community building is. All these are forms of alliances where people have to come together for common purposes to make something bigger happen, something greater happen. To reach a greater end game, so to speak. So, in cultivating alliances, we must understand the balance of give and take. Reciprocity is the foundation of meaningful partnerships where mutual benefits are exchanged. Much like allies in any significant cause, we should be willing to extend our resources, knowledge, and strength to build a robust and supportive community that uplifts us all. So whatever you have, whatever you feel like you are skilled in, you bring that to the table as your investment, as your what you're offering at the table. If it's knowledge, if it's some type of economic resources, you understand. Some of us, some of your brothers and sisters, you own property, you own land, you own. Okay, some of us even have houses. And think about it, I'm not trying to get anyone in any trouble, but some of us live in these big, nice, roomy houses. You understand what I'm saying? All right, look, Look out for me, I look out for you. You understand? That yard out there, it doesn't cut itself. I'm just saying we have to think differently. We got to stop thinking like this, like we have to stop thinking like slaves. We got to stop thinking like dependents. You understand? And think as a nation, think as a people who have a right to be a nation in the first place. And then from there, when you understand your nationhood, then you understand that in order for a nation to thrive, they need allies. Plain and simple. You're not going anywhere fast, anywhere soon without the proper alliances. That's just what it is. Awaken from mental enslavement. Too often we have adhered to systems that do not serve us, particularly the illusion of the American political system as a sole salvation. It is time to open our eyes to the reality that these structures have often failed to meet our needs adequately. The awakening begins by looking inward, reconnecting with our ancestral wisdom, and understanding our divine nature. Our ancestors embraced the sacredness of life and understood the intricate balance between humanity and the divine. Today, we face challenges that have distanced us from this profound understanding. The media and narratives around us often drive us away from our truths, sowing seeds of doubt and inferiority. It is time to liberate ourselves by re-examining the narratives we have accepted and returning to the wisdom of our forebears. It is what it is, family. And I'm going to simply say, he with an ear to hear, let him hear. Because these words aren't for everybody. Everybody is not going to connect or be receptive to what's being said. We know that. We already know that. So this is not for everybody. It's for those that keep on, shouting out unity. Those who keep saying they want unity, they want unity. Well, this is how you get it. This is how you get it. It's self-sacrifice, it's negotiation, it's collaboration, it's building alliances, and sometimes friendships, to be honest with you, brotherhoods, sisterhoods, organized, parties amongst ourselves, so that we can communicate. There has to be diplomacy, for example, to understand other parties. A representative from you, a representative from them. Where anytime we need to talk about ground level stuff, these are the people that communicate that back and forth. We don't even have to be amongst you. We don't have to sit at the table and eat dinner with you or something like that. And sometimes that might happen because again, that's part of diplomacy. Diplomacy is coming to the table as equals, communicating your interest towards each other. You understand, without doing anything that might embarrass the whole. You understand? That's what diplomats are for. They're to communicate on behalf of who they represent. If you don't want to embarrass your leader or your authority, you bring out a diplomat and to speak on behalf. That way, if there's anything else, you could a lot of that you could deal with behind closed doors. You could talk about that outside of the camera or whatever. So you have to have diplomacy. You have to have proper network channels of communication. So yes, indeed. I said together we can create a world that honors our ancestors' legacy and paves the way for future generations to walk in dignity, pride, and power. It's I personally I believe it's time for us to be rising up as a collective and not just watching other people rise up and champion them on our behalf. You see someone rise up and we cheer them on because they say, well, this is our own likeness rising up. Then we need to increase the body that surrounds those who rise up. For the future of our world awaits the unique and transformative contributions only we can offer. We're sitting here watching a world war go on from the sidelines, the same way people watch a football game. Because many of us, we don't believe that we have anything to do with anything. We're just spectators. We're just spectators on the sideline, waiting for master to get, stop being angry, stop being mad. That's the mentality that some people have. That's the mentality some people have. So, dear brothers and sisters, the hope is that the heavily emphasized message has been driven in to your thought process, and that you will reflect upon these important aspects and take them seriously. Uh, we're too comfortable with the everyday to and fro lifestyle that we live, and many of you don't even see the disaster approaching. You wouldn't know once the things that you are comfortable with dealing with every day, if they were to stop, you would not know what to do next. And these things, they have to change. We have to be able to recognize what's in our best interest and pursue that and protect it. We have to stop being afraid of ghosts, meaning we have to stop being afraid of what we don't know about any opponent, assuming that this is what, so somebody's going to do this, somebody's going to do that. What if they do this? What if they do that? Because we're doing that, you're empowering your enemy by doing that. You're letting them treat you with a slave master slave form of relationship. You're putting that into their hands willingly, giving them the whip to beat you with. But imagine if your children see you stand up with courage, you understand, in the face of it all, in the face of this devilry, this wickedness, and you insist upon the right approach. To be honest with you, I think that's what the folks in Iran are seeing in their Ayatollah, because they're seeing their leader network is going down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to round this off to a close, and we'll continue on building on these elements at another time, because this is really an extensive subject that can actually be broken down into different parts. You understand? Um, but we do have mechanical limitations or whatnot with the equipment and the network service that's provided. There are limitations. Um, but mind you, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and show your support to the platform. You see down there, scrolling there, is some bits of information, including a link that you can follow to show your support to the platform. Your support will uh, be for you. You'll be having the option to select what you want your donations to go towards. There are different stages to that, including the Light Dome Academy. You'll see the details, the information there for that. Also, to support the website, to support the platform, and all the activities that um, surround, or concern Soul Journey of Life. Um, my hope is that the content that we express here is such as will keep you awake, that or wake you up if you aren't aware of the things that are going on in today's times. um, because you'd be surprised, some of us aren't aware of the things that are happening internationally, globally. They're not aware of it. um, and maybe there's a good in that, or maybe not. Sometimes, our sources of information are corrupt or tainted or distorted, the mainstream media for sure. And even, through some of the social media channel outlets or whatnot. It's sometimes sound, solid information is hard to come by, and often, you just have strong discernment to rely upon. Um, and that's just what it is. But in any given case, I encourage you to remain steadfast, keep your eyes open, keep pay attention, and do not be afraid to do what you should be doing as necessary. You understand? um, be courageous to be you, to be upon what is right. um, it doesn't always necessitate, sometimes people think that, to stand up for, what you should stand up for may require you to be violent in some way, and that's not always the case. Sometimes it's a matter of strategy. Sometimes it's a matter of development. You understand? Uh, some of you big money people, some of you people with that big money, buying up the lands that you have or whatnot over there. I salute those who take that up as an opportunity to build up small housing developments, low cost housing. It's things like that. That's part of the fight, also. You understand? It's not always the guns and bullet aspect of it, boots on the ground. That's all of these elements are essential. One is not, over the other per se. They're all essential, because even when you have the land and you have all the investments, you've got to protect it, because the enemy will find any weakness to exploit. So you have to protect it on all sides. You understand? You have to protect your knowledge. You have to protect what you teach, what your children are learning, and the institutions that are established for the benefit of their learning. You have to make sure that the knowledge that's uh, funneling through there is proper and suitable for the minds of your children. Um, yes, indeed. Um, you're hearing my own son, with his own words to say. So I'm going to round this off here, and I appreciate all those who came in. Yes, indeed, peace and blessings to you too. I appreciate your greeting. Um, and let me put this here. There we go. All right. And until next time, stay tuned. Let me know in the commentary what you think about things. If you have questions, go ahead and shoot them through in the commentary. I always try to break things down. I wanted to do another village circle thing today, but as I said, the power, everything, the network element there is kind of becoming a hindrance right now. But perhaps we'll build on that next time, because there are some strong questions that I would like us to kind of shoot to the village circle. You understand? You have a powerful and beautiful young voice. They heard you. They heard your word. So there it is. Brothers and sisters, this is your brother Questman, aka Abdul Dude, Soul Journey of Life, Conscious Social Media. You understand? Just making sure the light works. And until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Shalom, peace and blessings, Hotep, and have a gracious rest of your day. Take care.
Bye.